Hi everybody, Lisa Tamati here and welcome to this webinar. We're super excited that you could join us today and we're going to teach you a little bit about how to revolutionize your running training and all the sort of stuff that we've learned over a very long time and a very long career. So I hope you're excited about that. I hope you're going to learn a whole lot on this webinar, and we're going to introduce ourselves in a minute and tell you a little bit about what we're about and what you're going to actually learn. So the goal from this web class is that we want you to be able to run further, faster, with less pain and injuries, and we want you to be able to get to the finish line without injuring yourselves and overtraining and hitting plateaus, all those things that most of us as runners can, sing a song about. So we want to help you shortcut that process. Now, the goal from this web class is not only to teach you to run further, faster, and with less pain and injuries, but we want to teach you about a holistic-based programming and why it's important that you don't just go out there and collect endless kilometers and think it's all sweet. Okay, so our system that we've developed is based on the 5 pillars. Now, the first one of those is your run session, your drills, and your technique sessions. Okay, so that's lumped in all into one area. So that's your hill training, your fartlek, your tempo, all of that sort of good stuff. The second part, and this is part that often gets neglected, is the strength and conditioning sessions, and then also your mobility and flexibility sessions. Really, really important. The next part of the puzzle is nutrition and supplementation. Nobody can run without proper fuel, okay? It's really important. And the last part is one of my favorite pieces of the puzzle, and that's the mindset and motivation side of things, okay? So that is a whole system that we're going to be talking about today and walk you through all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to introduce Neal, who is sitting there nice and quietly today. This is my partner and my coach for the last decade, Neal Wagstaff, exercise scientist. Now, Neal has over 22 years of coaching not only athletes but also other trainers. He's worked in the clinical settings, the gym settings, with runners all around the world. He's an ultramarathon runner himself. He's he's a father of 3 little gorgeous children. He's a man of many, many, many talents, and he really revolutionized the way I approach my running training and saved my career, and I'm going to tell you that story in a little bit. But that's Neal in a nutshell. What he brings to the table as an exercise scientist is just super invaluable, and without him I wouldn't have done what I've done. So over to you, Neal.
Hey, thanks, Lise. Good to meet you all, guys and girls. So Lisa Tamati, where to start? It's a big story, and it's a pretty exciting and interesting story for those of you who don't know too much about it. Lisa's run across some of the hottest deserts in the world. She's been on some of the toughest adventures in the world, running the length of New Zealand. She's, along the way, picked up some great stories, met some great people, so much so that she's the author of 2 books. She's not just a runner, she's not just an athlete, she's not just a coach, she's also a jeweler as well, and a very talented one at that. So she's pretty good at what she does. We've shared some great stories and great experiences on the road over the years. Some fun ones, some sad ones, some ones where we've butted heads a few times as well. So with that in mind, this is probably a good place to start. This picture, isn't it, Lisa? It wasn't long after we met where you thought it'd be a good idea that if I was coaching you, that I should come and experience 100K. So yeah. I was still smiling at the end, but I'll hand over to you and you can tell people a little bit more about what we've been up to.
So just briefly, this was at the finish line of the Nationals of the 100K race that we did a few years ago. And Neal was first-time ultramarathon runner in this case. He'd done a marathon before, but never done 100 kilometres. Obviously, that's 2.5 times as much long. But he really wanted to understand the psyche of what the heck I was doing and what I was pushing my body through. And I needed him as my coach to understand what it was all about. So he dived in the deep end and did this. And there was a few tears, wasn't there, Neal? There was a few tears at about the 70K mark when the wheels started to fall off.
It was a little bit emotional.
You quite often see strong men cry in this ultramarathon world, I'll tell you. And there's nothing wrong with that. But he managed to finish in a super good time, and I managed to get second that year at the Nationals, so that was pretty cool. But that was a really, a super experience in the beginning, basically, of our working together. From there on, and we were just the best buddies and the best coach and athlete. So that's our sort of story in a nutshell.
So along the way, Lise, with some of the stories where we butted heads, you were doing a fair few Ks, weren't you? And
Oh yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about our backstory. So Neal came into my life when I just returned to New Zealand. I've been living overseas for 13 years, and I'd done a whole lot of ultramarathons on there. You know, raced all over the world already, and I'd gotten to the finish line on most of them. But when I came back to New Zealand, I was totally broken. I was burnt out. I was depressed. I was in a bad space in my life personally, and all of these things compounded. And I was absolutely burnt out from what I'd done. And I met Neal, and he says to me, like, well, I've got a new approach for you to try. So I thought, well, yeah, things aren't going really well. So I took his advice on board, and I really started to adapt to the way that he wanted to make me train. And so what happened was that basically after working with Neal for 6 months, my career just started to skyrocket. I just did one best race after the other. I competed internationally. I did the PreDeath Belly ultramarathon, which is like Badwater, 217 Ks through the hottest desert on earth, coming in the top 10, which is an unofficial world champs of our sport. And from there on in, it was just one massive race after the other. And I really thought I was pretty bulletproof there for a while, because Neal had really changed the whole approach. He'd actually cut my mileage in half from what I was doing before, and yet I was a stronger and fitter runner. So that's the sort of stuff that we want to talk to you a little bit about today, because we want to show you that whole system. I thought I'd been doing it right my whole life. I've been just doing long, slow running. That's what you do. If you're collecting kilometres and you're running big races, what do? You run a lot. That would seem logical, but there's a lot more pieces to the puzzle. So we're going to share with that with you today.
The real exciting thing was when I met Lisa was that she was doing what she was doing, and we just saw such great opportunity to develop it further. She was doing what she was doing and missing some of the key ingredients. It's those ingredients we'll share with you guys today. But it was amazing to see how quickly she grew, and as we put the new ingredients in, what difference it made.
Yeah, I certainly did. I managed to podium on a lot of international races and national champs and all sorts of stuff after that, thanks to Neal's guidance. So you might be thinking like, well, how does this apply to me? I'm not an ultramarathon runner. I don't want to go running through PreDeath Belly. And we're not advocating doing that at all. We have a few crazy ultramarathoners for sure in our cadre of athletes. But what we are talking about is that the same principles apply whether you're just starting out and you're doing your first 5K or you're doing ultramarathons, okay? So it's the same principles that you need to apply. It's all running, and you all need to be developing a holistic program in order to eliminate the risks of overtraining, injury, and burnout. So that's what we're going to teach you a little bit today. Learn from our mistakes. I made 100 billion mistakes on my journey, and I can help shortcut it so you don't have to go through the same hell that I went through. Does that sound good? I hope so. So we want to help you get to the start line in the best shape imaginable, and it has to fit in with your family and work commitments. There is no point us giving you a massively big mileage training program that's going to blow you to pieces when you're a mum or a dad, or you've got 3 kids and a career and you're juggling everything. That might work for a 20-year-old elite athlete, but it won't work if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, wherever you are in your life, and you want to do something epic, but you don't want to completely ruin yourself doing it, okay? So we want our athletes to have longevity in the sport and become healthier and stronger physically and mentally, and it also helps you be a better person and a better role model to those that are around you.
Right, so what we'll cover today then, guys and girls, is we're going to share some of our big wins, and 3 of our biggest wins over our time as training together as coach and athlete, and some of the experiences, fun we've had around the world. So what we're going to do is initially look at our first secret, is how to reduce your weekly mileage and still improve your health and athletic results. Our secret 2 we're going to share with you over the rest of the webinar is how to run less, get fitter, stronger and healthier. Secret 3, how to train time efficiently so you don't have to sacrifice your entire life to run that race. All right? So 3 pretty valuable things from our perspective, stuff we've learned loads from, and stuff we've shared with other people as well. So let's get stuck into the first secret. So how to reduce your weekly mileage and still improve your health and results. So as we move through, some runners might think, I don't understand how your new training system will work for me. So let us tell you a quick story. And we're going to use, as we said at the start, a lot of Lisa's stories to really bring this to life for you. So take it away, Lisa.
Yeah, so basically, as I said earlier, I was doing huge mileage. That's what I knew. I was doing, you know, north of 150 kilometers often per week, and between 100 and 170 usually. And, you know, that worked for a while, and I certainly got to the finish line in some big, massive races, but I didn't do it very efficiently. I wasn't in the top echelon, and I was completely blowing myself apart. I started to do things like my hormones started to get out of balance. I started to get adrenal exhaustion. I started to gain weight. Go figure about that one. All of these sort of things is what happened. And then injuries, repeated injury, one injury after the other. And I would just, with my very strong willpower and determination, I would overcome these things, but with sheer guts, and of course the pain and the suffering that I went through was unnecessary. And so what Neal did was then cut that huge mileage, and the results were just absolutely amazing.
What was your training week like, Lisa, back in the day?
Well, basically it was 7 days a week, and it was like 2 long ones per week. So I did back-to-back trainings on the weekend. So I'd often run a marathon on a Saturday and a 30K or 35K on a Sunday. And then I'd run during the week, you know, and working full time, you know, 10 to 15 kilometers a day as well during the week. So it was massive mileage, but there was no quality. It was all long, slow. There was no tempo, no intervals, no hill training, no strength and conditioning, no mobility. And that's what led to all the problems. And let alone the whole hormone side of it, which we won't go into too much in detail here, but it does a lot of things to your body when you're absolutely smashing yourself year in, year out, year in. I mean, I'd already been doing it for 13 something years or so when I met Neal, for 14, 15 years. So, you know, I'd been doing it the wrong way for a long time.
What were some of I know we butted heads a lot of the time in the early days. What were some of the things you found toughest about cutting the distance down?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when Neal said to me, look, you've got to cut your mileage and you've got to add in the strength. I didn't mind adding in the strength routines. I didn't mind adding in the mobility. That sort of all made sense to me, but I really pushed back as far as cutting the mileage. How the hell do you go out and run, say, a 300-kilometer event when you've been, you know, training on, you know, something like between 50 and 70 Ks a week? It's not doable. And I really struggled with that. But eventually I started to see that what he was saying was working. And I was getting stronger as I did my more strength and so on. And I started to cut it back, and I cut it back, and I cut it back. And we actually ended up cutting it in about half. So, you know, 50 to 60% of what I was originally doing. And I got better results. And it's so counterintuitive, and a lot of people struggle with this. But, you know, it's understanding the whole process and understanding the whole body that led to the success. And my career just went, you know, like, I mean, I've never had any speed, never had any huge potential as far as being an athlete's concerned. I've just always had guts and determination, which is probably the most important thing when you're doing these sort of things. But, you know, cutting that mileage really elevated it to the next level.
Yeah, mate, before we go into secret 2, I think it's just good to make sure that what the guys are taking away from there. So the biggest takeaway for us from that lesson is just being comfortable, and that's the toughest part, as Lisa just said, is being comfortable that reducing your mileage will still get you to the start line in better condition, and then the finish line in better condition as well. So if all you take away from that is that you can, if you are doing high mileage, you are in a position to cut it, and you are in a position to safely cut it and still get better results, and feel very, very comfortable doing that. You should feel very comfortable doing that. So more is less. We want quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. It's not about being lazy. It's not about, it's adding in the right pieces of the puzzle. And the other pieces are just as important as the kilometers that you're collecting or the miles that you're collecting. Okay, so that's the whole message from that one. So let's get on to secret number 2. Now, how to run less, as we've already mentioned, and get fitter, stronger, and healthier. So how do you actually do this?
All right, so many runners think, maybe thinking, not surprisingly, I'm not sure how low mileage will work for me. So again, we're gonna share some of our stories to illustrate to you and show you how it really, really will work for you, and give you a couple of lessons to take away as well. So Lisa, let's throw it back at you again and just look at where you were at pre-Death Valley and then where you were at post-Death Valley. So just share some of your stories from that.
Yeah, so PreDeath Belly, so I just met Neal and I just started to work with him, but we hadn't done a heck of a lot. And I remember doing a race, 100 mile around our local mountain here, and I was completely weak in the core. I mean, when you're running, there it goes. Yeah, you can see this is about 150 k's in, and I'm completely bent over. My core's gone, which means my digestion has gone, my breathing is gone, the pain that I'm in is horrific, and that was the starting point, if you like, with Neal. Went, oh my, holy crap, she's doing all that, but she's doing it without any strength in her upper body, and she's got no core strength, and her hips are dropping, and her knees are turning in. How the heck is she doing that with what she's done? And so he thought, wow, I've got something to work with here. I can actually rebuild her and make her stronger. That's a bit like the $6 million man. So that's what he did. And so at the end, after running Death Valley, like 6 months later, we went over to Death Valley, the 217 kilometers there, through the hottest desert up to 57 degrees. And at the end of that race, I didn't look like that. I was completely still upright, and I was absolutely knackered, don't get me wrong, but I was upright, I was strong, my breathing was okay, my digestion was okay, everything was still functioning properly. I wasn't completely collapsed over. And that was a big part of the puzzle. Also, my hips weren't dropping, my knees weren't tipping in, I wasn't getting the injuries that I was getting, and that's all coming from the strength training side of it.
Yeah, so it was literally night and day, guys, with the difference. It really was phenomenal. And there was and the training the core also means you get chased around by more guys as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've always been lucky to have such handsome crew members with me. But I had a very bad back too, and this was another piece of the puzzle, is that if you have a bad back out there and you want to run, you must do core work, and you must do it in a structured way so that you're starting in a place with exercises that aren't going to hurt your back, because you can't start with one-legged, I don't know, burpees or something. If you've got back problems, you need to start at the right place and then build it up. But that I had a broken back when I was young. I've got 2 compressed vertebrae, and I had massive back troubles all throughout my career, and I've managed to keep it at bay, and to a point where I was having seizures and stuff 10 times a day, and I thought my career was over. I was no longer able to run with backpacks across deserts and so on. I've been to chiropractors, surgeons everywhere, and nothing was working. Nobody could help me. They said, your career's over. So I went back to Neal, and he said, we just need to go really hard out on your core. So we did, and we, not just your six-pack either, guys. This is your whole, what do you call it, the whole area around here, your quadratus lumborum, your obliques, your deep internal core muscles. All of those things are really important to keep it. And lo and behold, I didn't need any more surgery. I didn't need, the chiropractors, the physios, anything else. The pain was gone, the seizures stopped. And since then, I've been, rock solid. I've had no problems with my back, no pain with my back, despite the fact that I've now got 4 discs that are totally compressed. So 2 that were done in the injury, and then over time, the last 20-something years of running too much, I've ended up with 4 compressed discs, and I still have no pain. And that's because I have an extremely, extremely strong core.
So if all you're taking away from that, guys and girls, is that you need to start doing some core work, then that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a real good takeaway. And make sure as well, when you're looking at it, you're doing the sort of core work that's going to work on your deep stabilizers, as Lisa was saying. Okay, your deep stabilizers, you want to make sure you've got control in all of your deep stabilizers, your lumbar pelvic hip complex and your spine are being held in position as they should. When you're moving the sort of distance Lisa's been moving across 100 plus K or 100 plus miles, then you need to make sure that your core and your hips are going to be held in position as they should. All right, it will give you quick wins. It will give you easy wins, and if you neglect it, you're gonna pay the price injury-wise. Okay, so core work is key. The other area we wanted to take you through as well, guys, where we start looking at the bigger picture, and we think you should all start looking at the bigger picture as well, is looking at basically each day and each week doing a wellness check-in with yourself. So this is something that's very subjective. You do it yourself. This is my one we're actually looking at on the screen here. And it's making sure that when you get up each day, you're not just thinking, I need to go run. That's one important thing. You also need to be thinking, how well have I slept? What's my nutrition been like? My hydration, my movement, my energy, my body, and where are my stress levels at? You simply rate these things on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being that you're off your game and you feel like you're in the toilet, to put it politely. 10 is rock and roll. You're ready to party, and your energy levels, your body is on fire.
Yeah.
the reason we want to get you looking at these things and thinking about these things, if you've got a big run planned this weekend and you're planning on going out and doing a 30K, a 40K, whatever it may be as part of your training. It could be a 5K or a 10K. It doesn't really matter what the distance is. What does matter is you're doing it feeling good. Okay, if you've had a tough night's sleep, and I experience a few of those, you'll see some of my scores here are 5, 7, 5s out of 10, which isn't great from a sleep point of view. I've got 3 little ones, nearly 3, nearly 6, and just turned 8, and some nights they keep me up. What that means is I need to put myself in a position that if I've had a poor night's sleep and I want to go out and train hard, do you think I'm still going to get the same amount out of my session? Probably not. Okay, if I keep doing that to my body and keep loading it with poor sleep, then all that's going to happen is my body's going to start to break down. It's going to break down. I'm going to pick up more niggles, more injuries. Will I get to the start line? Definitely not. Will I get to the finish line? Unlikely as well. So taking these things into account is really key. Don't miss the point as well that your body will grow and develop when you sleep. It will get its rest and recovery. It will grow when it's resting and recovering. Okay, you break it down when you train, when you run, when you do weights, when you do all the higher intensity things. It needs that sleep and recovery in order to build and develop. So don't miss that. Nutrition is obviously key as well, and making sure that what you're putting into your body is doing the job it should. If you're trying to fuel your body to do some high intensity things or some long distance things, or you're attacking some new goals and the energy going in isn't good quality, then you're not going to get good quality output. All right. Hydration as well. We see so many people, ourselves included in the early days, who underestimated the importance of this stuff. Okay. If you underestimate that, it will trip you up. So keeping an eye on your hydration, making sure you've got good levels of electrolytes as well, so you're actually holding on to the water, is key. All right. Your movement is making sure that it is consistent. So making sure the movement's consistent on a regular basis and you're doing what your program says. Energy-wise, rate yourself. Again, if your energy's low, don't expect to be able to give a good quality training session. If it's up there, then you can expect that quality to be a little bit higher. And get used to how your body feels. If you're getting niggles in your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your ankles, your back, start to pay attention to them. Too many people that we've worked with, and again ourselves included in the early days, will ignore the niggles, take a concrete pill, harden ourselves up and just push through it, okay? That's not necessary. What is necessary is you get used to, right, how can I tweak what I'm doing to get rid of those niggles? Niggles aren't normal. We just accept as runners that they are, and it's part of what we do. It doesn't need to be, okay? Consider as well what's coming in for the rest of your life. Stress-wise, we've got family commitments, we've got work commitments, we've got other commitments in our life outside of our training. So we need to balance those with our training. Each week, these will give you a score, and ideally you want to see yourself in the green if you're going to be pushing harder. All I've done over this period is that, as I haven't got as many greens as I would like, all I've done is pull back on my training volume and intensity slightly. And guess what? I'm still moving forward to where I want to be and progressing at the right level because I adapted my training to suit where I was at. That make sense?
It's learning to read your body and understand your whole systems, and not just looking at downloading a spreadsheet from the internet that says I've got to run 20 kilometers today, and doing it regardless of everything else in your life, your injuries, your stress levels, the kids that kept you up at night, all of that sort of stuff. Okay, so it's learning to read and to plan around that. Right, moving on to the next one, Neil.
Okay, in short, guys, as well, just make sure that what you're putting in your bucket each day, exactly as we've just said, is you're not causing your bucket to burst. Okay, you're in control of what goes into your bucket every day. We describe this as the bucket of stress. Is make sure that the things you put in, you can manage, you can control. If you can control those, your body will stay at the level it should, and it will respond to its training as it should. Okay, so if there's any issues, any concerns, and you feel like you're starting to put holes in your bucket, then you need to pull back on something. And that's where the previous checklist helps you monitor what you're doing each day. All right, so be wise about it, be sensible. Don't do some of the things that Lisa's done and we've done in previous years. We've learned the hard way. Yeah. Okay, we've learned the tough way, and we've now got a much more solid bucket. We want you guys to have a solid bucket as well. So if all you're taking away from this is that to check in with yourself on a daily basis, to look after your core, and to make sure you're keeping your bucket full of the right things, then there's your lessons. Keep it simple, but make sure you are checking in with yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah. Right. So now on to secret number 3. We hope you enjoyed those takeaways. Now, how to train time. It's like, this is how you actually do this. How to train efficiently so you don't have to sacrifice your entire life to run that race that you have planned, okay? So we don't want you to have to just do everything under the sun in order just to get to the start line, but you manage to get divorced and lose the kids on the way. We want to have balance on what we're doing. You know, it's great when you're a 20-year-old elite athlete, but let's be honest, most of us aren't. So secret number 3, some people say, some runners say, I don't know how to implement this type of training and how it all works together. But so let's go diving into that a little bit. I want to tell you a little bit of another story that, you know, when I ran through PreDeath Belly, the following year I did it again. I was running a business. I had a huge amount of money that I had to get for sponsorship. So it was like training for the Olympics and trying to build the stadium at the same time. I ran through New Zealand, 2,250 kilometres in 42 days for a charity, wrote a book representing New Zealand in 24-hour racing, was national champ, all within 18 months. And what happened? I thought I was bulletproof when I went into this project and all these projects, and I thought I was having so much success that I could just keep piling on the stress levels. I tell you honestly, I have never been the same since. And that's despite Neal, and that's despite everything that I've done to repair myself. I completely blew myself to pieces. I blew myself to pieces adrenally. Of my kidneys are no longer functioning as well as they should, etc., etc. What we want you to take away from this is, like, plan your year out, plan the amount of stuff that you can logically and comfortably put into it without completely blowing yourself to pieces. Now, we love people who have big goals and big dreams, and you know, I understand that. That's where I've come from as well. And I wanted to achieve massive things. I still tend to do that in my whole life, is put too much on my plate. However, I'm learning slowly to be able to take things off and to make the plan work so that I'm picking 1 or 2 big events a year instead of 10. You know, and it's making that work around your lifestyle so that you have longevity in the sport, so that you don't have the dramas and the problems and the injuries and the illnesses that I've ended up having because I did all that within an 18-month period and a lot more prior. So that's basically what we're talking about there.
So guys and girls, we just wanted to put a big emphasis as well on, I'll introduce you to my kids. I've mentioned them already. I'm like any proud dad, I like talking about them. Okay, so I'm there with my youngest Annie, who I said is going to be 3 very soon. Ellen has just turned 8, and Cam, sitting up on my shoulders up there, he is going to be 6. So the key thing is that as you plan your training, like Lisa was saying, and putting some sort of structure into it and not making sure you overcommit yourself, is that you take into consideration the other things in your life. Okay, a lot of my planning now is done around what effects it has on these guys and my wife Sam, and how it fits in with our structure. I'm really, really lucky, very lucky. I've got a real supportive family. I want to be a real great role model for them. A part of being a great role model is them seeing me compete in things, is them seeing me go and race, go and run, and go out and train. And biggest lesson for me when I was younger was definitely how important training is and the commitment and discipline that needs, and I'm definitely going to pass that onto my little ones as well. But point being, a lesson takeaway from here is when you are planning what you're doing, look at the bigger picture. We've seen so many people, and again, as Lisa said, herself and us included over the years, there's that overcommitment. What that overcommitment brings is a lot more stress, a lot more feelings of anxiety, a lot more pressure on you and your family, your work life. So make sure that what you're committing to, and that's the biggest takeaway again from what you say today, is make sure you plan sensibly. Make sure you plan and put yourself in a position that you can be successful. Now, if you're clever about it and you're wise about it, you can do that. Okay, you can put yourself in a position that you can give structure to your week. You want to make sure, you can see here one of our training programs up on the screen. Just to walk you through it quickly, you can see each session should have a warm-up. It should have some strength and conditioning training in the week. You can see there in the black boxes. It should have, you've got our running hot knees down at the bottom there. That's one of our mobility programs. Now, the idea is, we've already taught you in lesson 2 about having a good holistic approach, about having an approach to training that allows you to manage what you're doing each week and each day. There's runs in there, and you'll probably be surprised to see this is actually one of our marathon programs. There's only 3 runs in that week. Now, the reason there's only 3 runs is, and I've used this program myself, is that there's 3 runs there, because if I were to put any other runs in for the athletes we're using it with, or used it myself with any more runs than that, guess what? I'd end up with holes in my bucket. So I can get to the start line in good condition if I'm balancing what I'm doing in my week with the other commitments I've got with my my business commitments. Again, too much commitment with the running would mean that I'd have to sacrifice something else, and I'd lose something else that I'm not willing to at the moment.
Yeah.
So you can still get there if you're clever about it and you keep the energy levels high and you plan it. So what we would really want you to take away from this is plan your training year. Periodise your training year so you have peaks and troughs. It should be periodised. There should be times of high volume training. That's when you want to get your family on board. You want to talk to your work colleagues, get them on board to know that now is a high volume training time. I'm going to need your support and help. But let them know as well that coming off the back of that, you're going to have some downtime where the volume isn't going to be high, and then you can put some more time and effort back into the other parts of your life. Again, too many people, so many choices on the racing calendar at the moment. You can go out and run an event a couple of weekends and then go and Google marathons, half marathons, 5Ks, 10Ks next weekend, and there's more choice again. You could literally do it weekend in, weekend out. Our advice is don't plan sensibly for the year, periodise it for the year so you've got your peaks and troughs so that every aspect of your life is looked after. That make sense?
Yep. And so we have like 3, and you know, you don't have to do it just 3 days a week. You can do 4 or 5 day sessions as well, but that's
exactly.
On your lifestyle. This is what we're talking about. It's making it work for your constraints, the lifestyle problems that you have. So let's ask you a question. So I hope you're enjoying the webinar and you're getting something out of it. And now we want to actually explain to you a little bit about our system. So we've covered so far how to reduce your weekly mileage and still improve your health and athletic results, how to run less and get fitter, stronger and healthier, and how to train time efficiently so that you don't have to sacrifice everything in your life in order to run that race that you want to do. All right. So I hope that you want to take things to the next level after listening to this and going, heck, I've been doing it wrong. All right. So let's take you through our system, okay? So we have a really revolutionary new run training system. It's not your average coaching program. It's not something that you're going to see on every street corner, but it's a very holistic run training program, and we think it's the future of running and of personalizing your health journey, okay? We're going to help you run further and faster and get to the finish line. And what you will see if you adapt this training program to you and you take it on board is that you'll start to see changes already in the first 30 days. You'll already start to see, you won't be there, but you'll start to see improvements in your running form and your running fitness and your performance and your injury profile. All of these things, you'll start to see little changes already within 30 days. And once you see those, of course, that's when you can get excited and really dive into the program. So here's what you're going to get. That's about as happy as we are when we're running. We're always like smiling. Just kidding. It's not always easy. We know that. So the running start, this is a complete run training system that we're going to be talking to you about today, what we do and how it works. So you're going to get full access if you join us and join our family. Full access to the Running Hot coaching platform. You're going to get training plans, technique plans, drill plans. You're going to get strength workouts that are really specifically for runners. You're going to get mobility, and we talk about this as about being daily mobility workouts, something that's absolutely often neglected, okay? And then you're going to get the mindset strategies and the planning and nutrition, all right? Right, over to you, Neil.
So if you think, I mean, we're in a position here, guys, where we've been helping people for the past 3 years now. So there's a lot of athletes we've worked with. You can see a handful of our athletes here on the screen. We've taken people from 5K through to ultramarathon running status. We've worked with others that have just wanted to run half marathons and marathons. So the system, as you heard, it works very well. Lisa and I have learned the hard way in many ways, and applied those strategies and learned the lessons and then put them into practice and see what really truly works. We've then been lucky enough to work with hundreds and hundreds of athletes and apply it to them as well. So what we're taking you through today isn't a new idea, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's not a new idea. It's not something we've just gone, right, let's give it a try. It's something that is tried and tested and has got a lot of proof and success behind it.
We've got hundreds of athletes that we could show you their stories, but we haven't got time for that on this webinar. but we've actually taken people from all over the world. And this is something that will work for everyone. This is not just for people, you know, who are elite athletes. Obviously, we've been talking about ultramarathoning, you know, because that's my background. But this is for people starting out at the absolute very bottom of the running journey. You know, people that are just getting to the run to the letterbox and back, okay? And it's also for those who want to do multi-day stage races and ultramarathons. It works for everyone because the system works and it builds with you as you build up right through the program. And it's for those people who don't want to run competitively, just want to be fit for life. And that's, you know, that's a really important goal. And it works for men and women in all ages and abilities, okay? All right. So we wanted to just quickly go through a couple of the reasons why people don't get started on training programs. You might think that working online is difficult and maybe you're not that technically, you know, savvy. And we certainly weren't, were we, Neal, as non-techies? We had a hard time delivering our systems in the beginning. We've kept at it, we've worked at it, we've got it through. And now we have a system that's super easy to understand. It's easy for you to access, and you won't have a problem. And we're here to help if you do. It's very easy to understand. The instructions are easy to follow, and we're always there to back you up. And it's been proven hundreds of times that this system works. This is from absolute, you know, beginners right through to elite athletes. All right.
So guys and girls, what we wanted to do today as well is throwing a bonus or two. So if you join before the webinar closes, and you'll be able to get our amazing beneficial 8-week strength program. And this is the strength sessions that Lisa and I have used over the years. It's the strength sessions that we still use now. It's the sessions I used to train Lisa through as well. And you'll see in this 8-week series, me actually coaching Lisa through them. You'll see how she moves, what she does, the coaching points to improve the movements, and how to really add that strength work in. The reason we wanted to throw this one in, and the reason why we put such great value on it, it's exciting us so much, is simply because it's one of the biggest areas that is neglected by most runners. Most runners neglect this, most runners leave it out. So we wanted to make it as easy as possible for you guys and girls to introduce you to your weekly routine without any confusion, simple videos to follow, reps, sets, tempo on how much you need to be doing, how you can progress it if it's getting easy, and how you can regress it if it's getting tough.
Yeah, so a really great bonus. Thanks for that, Neal. So you also get like our 8 tips everyone should know ebook, okay? And you're going to get a 10-day clean eating program, which has been designed by Ben Warren of Be Pure, who's one of the country's top nutritionists. So it's been made, you know, specifically for our optimum health. And you're going to get a mini mindset course. So I teach mindset, motivation and mental toughness, and you're going to get the mini version of that course within this program.
So guys, what we wanted to do is really take you through what you're going to get when you come on board and become part of our family. So you get the Running Start program. So it does what it says. It's going to get you started and take you on and help you really maximize your running journey. So you get the complete running training system. So what this is it's the whole system. It's the package. When you log on to our website as a new member, what you're going to find inside is clean eating recipes, access to our closed community Facebook group. This is where a lot of our communication goes on. This is where you share both the highs and lows with other team members. You realise that you're not the only one going through that struggle. You realise that other people do think the same things. And you can ask any questions you want. Lisa and I base a lot of our webinars and live training, we base that on the feedback we get from the group. And we're really about, as you've probably noticed already, is about developing those family values. And it's really important to us that we've got each other's back and we're supporting each other. So you'll also have training calendars. We want to make this as simple as possible. So when you get online, you'll have a schedule there that'll take you through what to do each week, what to do each day. You can use that online. If that makes you a little bit nervous, you can print it off and stick it on your fridge. Okay, you can use it for what you want it. We've got educational blogs and articles. Lisa has written hundreds of blogs, hundreds of articles on her experiences, our experiences, put them on paper so that if you've got a question, you can go search the answer. You can read it, enjoy it, and again, learn from it. Everything we put together, we put and go through how-to instructional videos, so you can see us in action doing the exercises. As I said before, with the bonus strength, you know how to progress them, you know how to regress them. And if you're still not sure, you just stick a question in the Facebook group, and we add to it, or we'll answer the question for you. Lisa's done how many now, Lisa? We're getting close to 100 inspirational podcasts.
70 podcasts, yeah, with amazing people.
Getting up there with some amazing people. And again, some of our members love this purely from a motivational point of view. Some love it from an educational point of view. Some love it from just pure interest point of view. A lot of the team will listen to these while they're out running, and keeps them putting one foot in front of the other as well. So when you put all that together, it's the value of that team. If we were to put all that together and sell it to you individually, it'd be $1,497. So there's a lot of value there, a lot of value. The webinars and live training you do with us on a regular basis, we invite people onto those. You may have seen and watched some already. That's valued at $997, okay? We've got a 12 tried and tested run programs. So you're going to get run programs from 5K. You're going to get 10K run programs. You're going to get technique programs with how to tweak, change your technique and how to run more efficiently. You're then going to be able to move up to half marathon, 50K, 100K, ultra programs as well. So you've got them all there. So those 12 tried and tested run programs, the reason I say they're tried and tested is because they are. Lisa's done them. They're the programs I took Lisa through, and the hundreds and hundreds of athletes we were talking about previously, they've tried them. They work, and they work exceptionally well. So you're going to get those. The value of those, if you bought them as a pack, is $497. You're going to get a truly holistic running program. Okay, we talked about the importance of this before. We talked about the importance of checking in with yourself on a daily basis and seeing how your body's feeling. We talked about the importance of strength and mobility workouts. Remember back to that picture we were looking at with when Lisa was bent over when she was running round Mount Saranaki. That's why we put this together. So these are the programs that will have you finishing like Lisa finished when she finished Death Valley, finishing strong. Okay, so we've put all that together for you. That's got a value of $497. We've then got the fully periodized programs. Now, what I mean by this is I talked about the training year should fluctuate. You should have peaks of training and you should have some troughs where your body recovers before you peak again. Okay, so what we've done is the programs we put together, if you want to run a half marathon in 12 weeks, that program will have those peaks and troughs in it. If you want to build up to an ultra over a 20 or 26 week period, the peaks and troughs will be there. That periodization will be there. If you want to come to us and say, look guys, I want to run 2 events this year, what sort of gap should I have between them? We can give you the guidance and the programs to let you know what sort of gap you should have between them and what you need to do every day training wise with videos, session notes, program notes, so you know what way to go. Okay, and then on top of that, you're going to get the eight week long strength training bonus series, and I've already talked to you about that and how important that is. And again, just to put some more emphasis on it, it's something that's so neglected. Okay, we don't want you to neglect that, so we want to make it easy for you. This is all about making it simple. We've had a lot of blood, sweat, and tears over the past 10 plus years, and a lot of banging our head against the wall to work out how to do all this ourselves. We've now put ourselves, thankfully, in a position that we brought it all together, brought it under one roof, made it real simple. So if we tie all that together, you've got a program value there that's getting on for $4,500. Okay, and I think hopefully you're seeing from my explanation as to why it's so valuable and how we've got to that dollar value.
Yeah, 3 years of bloody hard work too.
Exactly. So moving on then, guys. For you to get started now today, and hopefully you're thinking about doing that, you'll only pay $197 for the year. The entire year paid up front. So just to take you back, there's a huge amount of value there. There's a lot on offer, and we've packaged it in a way that you can use it. The reason we've been able to drop the price and bring the price point down so much is because we've simplified it. We've taken all the bits that usually you'd have to go to a lot of different places to find. You may have to go into a gym and see a trainer. You may have to do something online and see a coach. You may have to search blogs. You may have to search articles. We put it all down under one roof and made it easy to use. And the other big bit for us as well is we had a couple of choices. We could have kept the price point up there, but we want to take the other view, and we want to share it with the world. We've struggled. We've learned the hard way, and we think that other people shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, we really want to make a massive impact. I mean, this is the whole reason why we've done this. We could have found other things that were easier to do. But the thing is, we have an extremely unique set of skills between the two of us and in the unique experiences. And, you know, I was sick of seeing, you know, like individual athletes that are breaking themselves and not, you know, having all the pieces of the puzzle, and it's just like, yeah, here you go, you know, like take this information and flourish, you know, avoid all those big massive mistakes that I've made along the way. We don't want you to go through all that crap. Believe me, we want you to have a simple, shortcutted process so that you can get there and reach your goals without having all the ups and downs that, you know, like 90%, or was it 80%, sorry, every year of runners that are injured in some way, shape or form. Now, that's a hell of a lot. So if we can help you just avoid a couple of injuries, would that be worth it for $197 a year? I think so, you know, like, you know, you could go and spend that on one chiropractor visit or 2 chiropractor visits or 1 physio, you know. So if we can just save you that, then alone that would be make it, you know, truly valuable.
So you guys and girls can do it too. It's as hopefully you've got the impression over the course of the webinar today. We in our team of athletes have not got supernatural gifts. We're not superheroes. I like to think I am, but I'm going to admit now that I'm not a superhero. It's hard work, it's dedication, and it's having the right ingredients. It's like baking a cake. Okay, we've spent a long time mastering our recipe. We've got the recipe there now. So we've got a group of people, ordinary people, who are doing extraordinary things, but they're doing them by doing it sensibly, doing it well. Okay, our training system will take the struggle away from you. Take those questions away. It will give you all the answers, so that you guys and girls haven't got to worry anymore. If you want lasting change, then you're going to need repeated exposure. This is one of the things that we've found over the years, and one of the things that I think Lisa happily admit that I've stuck around for a big chunk of time, just trying to remind her, remember, and eventually it starts to sink in. But if you don't have that repeated exposure, and a lot of our team here at Running Hot Coaching will say exactly the same thing. Yeah. They say it time and time again that I didn't hear what you said the first time, or they heard it, but it didn't sink in. Yeah, well, they didn't believe month 3 and month 4 of hearing it again and again and again, that it started to sink in and it started to make sense. Mm.
And it's changing your whole perspective on things, and everybody learns different things at different stages, and sometimes you hear something, but you're not quite ready to adapt and take that on yet. And then you go through an experience, and then all of a sudden, it makes sense to me, and you get it. And this is why when you just listen to a webinar or you watch a video on YouTube on how to do something, you don't actually at the end of it come away going, oh, now I've got all the answers. You think you do, but I guarantee you that by the next 3 or 4 days, you've probably forgotten it, and you need to have repeated exposure to it. You also need accountability. You also need people that are, and this is where our Facebook group is fantastic, and the comradeship and the supportive network of people that encouraging each other, and put your photos up and tell us your stories and tell us your problem, and sharing through that way. And you know, if you post on social media and do those sort of things, if that's your style, then that can help you with the accountability. You know, it can help you about, yeah, I did this today, and I did my things, you know. So that's really important, accountability and repeated exposure.
So guys and girls, we will meet you where you're at. That's a big thing with our coaching as well. We will meet you where you're at and start your journey with you. You don't have to be at a certain level to come in and start training with us. We meet our athletes where they're at, and then we start and share their journey with them. Okay, it's little bite-sized pieces every day. That is what will get you change. We're not looking at big change overnight. We're looking at those little bite-sized pieces, exactly the same way as Lisa around the length of New Zealand. It's little bits at a time. That's the way we put our programs together. That's the way we coach. That's what we believe in. Okay, so you can see there in front of you again what we've been through today, what we've got on offer, and the huge value that you guys and girls are going to get from sharing the webinar with us today. This price we've got today is only open for the webinar. It's only open for you. You won't find it anywhere else. Okay, so all you need to do is click the button below to get started now, and come and join us and get involved with what we're doing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you on the inside, guys. I'm super excited that you've stuck with us to the end of this webinar, and we really can't wait to work with you and to help you on your journey to making your running and training a complete and utter success, and avoiding all the problems that we've gone through. So thanks very much for joining us today. So signing off now for you guys, but please click the button below and join our family.
See you guys.